The great glass dome of the Galactic Council chamber sparkled under the light of three suns. Inside, hundreds of alien representatives sat in rising circles, their attention fixed on the human standing at the center. Ambassador James wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's flag on his shoulder, his gray hair and calm expression making him look more like a kindly teacher than a representative of his species. High Counselor Rel, with their silvery skin and four eyes, looked down at the human with what they thought was understanding. The council had spent 50 years studying humans, watching how they handled conflicts, and had come to what they believed was an obvious conclusion. Humans were afraid of war. Ambassador Rel's translator converted their musical language into standard galactic speech. We have reviewed Earth's request to establish more colonies in the Outer Rim. However, we noticed these colonies lack significant defensive capabilities. James kept his face carefully neutral, though anyone who knew humans well might have noticed the slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. We believe in peaceful expansion, High Counselor. Our colonies focus on scientific research and cultural exchange. A ripple of what passed for laughter moved through the council chamber. The representatives of various advanced species shared knowing looks. They had all seen humanity's history, the endless wars, the nuclear weapons, the destruction. Clearly, these humans had traumatized themselves so badly that they now feared any hint of military power. Of course, Rel nodded their elongated head, and it is admirable. But the galaxy can be dangerous. We feel it is our duty to protect younger species who lack the capacity for warfare. James clasped his hands behind his back, standing in what appeared to be a humble pose. In reality, it was the same stance taught at Earth's military academies. Parade rest. We appreciate the Council's concern, he said quietly. From their seat among the newer council members, Representative Cax of the warrior Duran species made a sound like grinding rocks, their version of a dismissive snort. Look at them. No warships, no battle stations. Their colonies don't even have orbital defenses. The humans have grown soft. The council chamber's AI system projected images of human colonies above the floor, peaceful-looking settlements with science stations, farms, and cultural centers. No massive weapons platforms. No military bases, just simple outposts of civilization. We have reviewed your history extensively, another council member spoke up, their tentacles waving in what they thought was a gentle, reassuring pattern. We understand that your past conflicts have led you to fear war. It is a natural response. That is why the council exists, to protect species like yours. James listened as they outlined new restrictions on human expansion. No colony could exceed certain population limits. No settlement could build structures above specific heights. No research station could exceed power outputs that might, theoretically, support weapons development. They thought they were being kind. They looked at humans and saw a species so scared by war that they had retreated into total pacifism. A species that needed protection. A species that feared conflict so much they wouldn't even build basic defenses. What they didn't understand was that every human colony was built on carefully chosen strategic ground, that those simple science stations contained equipment that could be converted to military use within hours, that every civilian ship's design was based on military protocols, ready to be upgraded when needed. That Earth had not grown soft. It had grown smart. As James accepted the Council's new restrictions with a humble nod, he thought about the latest reports sitting in his secured files, about the raids at the edge of known space, about the empire that thought the galaxy was ready for their taking, about how wrong everyone was about humanity's relationship with war. "Thank you for your wisdom, High Council," he said softly, while behind his calm expression, battle plans were already forming. Humanity didn't fear war. They just understood it better than anyone else in the galaxy. And if war was coming, the Council would learn the difference between fear and preparation. The aliens watched him leave, satisfied that they had protected another gentle species from the harsh realities of the galaxy. Above them, the three suns continued to shine through the dome. casting long shadows that looked, just for a moment, like the silhouettes of warships. The emergency alarm echoed through the halls of New Haven Colony, but Captain Lissa didn't run. She walked calmly to the control center, her boots making steady clicks against the metal floor. Behind her, colonists moved with practiced efficiency to their designated positions. No panic, no chaos, just order. "Status report," she said as she entered the dimly lit room. Screens covered the walls, showing what looked like simple weather and agricultural data. With a few quick commands, these displays transformed into military-grade tactical readouts. "Third raid this month, Captain," her second-in-command reported. "The Crimson Empire's ships just dropped out of hyperspace. They're targeting the Anderson farming settlement this time." The Crimson Empire, they'd been pushing their luck lately, testing the boundaries of what they thought were defenseless human colonies. Like everyone else in the galaxy, they'd bought into the story that humans were afraid of war. "How many ships?" Lissa asked, studying the tactical display that was supposedly just for tracking weather satellites. 5 raiders, small ones. They'd probably expect another easy target. Lissa allowed herself a small smile. "Let's disappoint them, shall we?" Activate Defense Pattern 3. Across the colony, innocent-looking structures began to change. Solar panels rotated to reveal hidden weapon ports. Agricultural silos split open, raising shield generators. Research antennas repositioned themselves into communication jammers. Within minutes, the peaceful farming colony had become a fortress. On the main screen, they watched as the Crimson Empire ships approached, their red hulls gleaming with predatory intent. They were so confident they didn't even bother with evasive maneuvers. "They're broadcasting their usual demands," the communications officer reported. "Surrender all resources and accept their protection, or face destruction." "Send no response," Lissa ordered. "Let them think we're cowering in fear." "Tom, notify the Council's observation post. Let them see what happens when someone mistakes preparation for weakness." The Crimson ships entered the atmosphere, weapons charged. They expected to find terrified colonists and easy plunder. Instead, they flew straight into a web of defensive fire. Energy beams lanced up from hidden bunkers. Shield walls materialized between buildings, channeling the raiders into kill zones. In the Council's observation post, the alien watchers leaned forward in shock. Where had these defenses come from? How had they missed them in their surveys? 2 raiders exploded before they could even return fire. A third managed to launch missiles, but they dissolved harmlessly against shields that shouldn't have existed. The 4th and 5th ships tried to retreat, only to find their engines disabled by precise shots from weapons that had been disguised as grain storage units. "Contact Ambassador James," Lissa commanded as she watched the last Crimson ship drift helplessly in their containment field. "Tell him we've captured some guests who might help explain to the Council why humanity's approach to war isn't about fear." Within hours, the news spread through the galaxy. A human farming colony had not only defended itself, but had completely defeated a Crimson Empire raid force. The Council scrambled to understand how they had missed the military capabilities hidden in plain sight. In his office on Earth, Ambassador James received the report with that same calm smile. The Council had wanted to protect humanity, thinking they feared war. Now they would begin to learn the truth. Humans didn't build obvious defenses not because they were afraid, but because they had mastered the art of hiding them. As cleanup crews disguised as agricultural workers began restoring the colony's peaceful appearance, Lissa sent one final message to Earth Command. "First demonstration complete. The galaxy is starting to understand." The captured Crimson Empire raiders, locked in cells hidden beneath the colony's main science building, had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that doesn't bare its teeth until it's ready to bite. Admiral Tom stood on the bridge of the Earth ship, Quiet Dawn, watching the stars through what appeared to be a simple observation window. The ship looked like a civilian research vessel from the outside. Most alien species thought humans only built scientific ships now. They were wrong. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, his sensor officer reported. It's the Crimson Empire, biggest fleet we've ever seen from them. The Admiral's expression didn't change as 30 warships emerged from hyperspace near the colony of New Eden. Their blood-red hulls blocked out the starlight, their weapons already glowing with power. After the humiliation of losing their raiders, the Empire had decided to make an example of humanity's largest outer colony. The Council observation ships are requesting permission to evacuate our colonists, the communications officer said. They say we can't possibly defend against a fleet this size. Tom allowed himself a small smile. Tell them to maintain their position and watch carefully. It's time for a history lesson. He pressed a button on his chair, opening a channel to all human ships and colonies in the sector. Break the seals. Authorization code. Remember Terra. Across New Eden, the peaceful facade began to crumble. Massive orbital platforms that had appeared to be floating gardens transformed, revealing energy weapons larger than some ships. Research stations split apart like blooming flowers, each pedal a fully armed battle platform. Even the colony's sun shields reconfigured into a defensive grid that no one in the galaxy had believed humans could build. In the Council observation ships, alien representatives watched in stunned silence as the supposedly defenseless human colony turned into a fortress. But the real shock came next. Launch all ships, Tom ordered. From hidden docks beneath the ocean, from camouflaged hangars in the mountains, from underground bases that had masqueraded as mining operations, human warships rose. Not the simple vessels the galaxy thought humans built, but true warships designed with centuries of combat experience and hidden away until they were needed. The Crimson Empire fleet hesitated. Their sensors showed hundreds of weapons locking onto them, weapons that shouldn't have existed. They saw ships appearing from places they had scanned dozens of times and found nothing. They're charging weapons, the sensor officer reported. Tom nodded. Let them fire first. Let everyone see who started this. The Empire ships launched their attack, expecting to crush the colony easily. Their energy beams struck shields that absorbed the impacts like water-swallowing stones. Their missiles vanished in point defense grids that had been disguised as atmospheric sensors. Return fire, Tom ordered quietly. Show them why humans don't fear war. We master it. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries. Human ships moved with perfect coordination, using tactics that had been refined through thousands of years of warfare on Earth. Each shot was precise, each maneuver calculated to maximum effect. In the Council ships, the observers finally understood. Humans hadn't avoided building defenses because they were afraid. They had hidden their true strength because they understood something no other species had learned. The best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't know exists until it's too late. The Crimson Empire fleet broke apart under the assault. Ships tried to retreat, but found their hyperspace drives disabled by devices, hidden in what they had thought were simple communication satellites. In less than an hour, the mighty attack force was reduced to drifting hulks. As rescue ships approached the disabled Empire vessels, Tom sent a message to Earth Command. The mask is off. Time for Phase 2. In the Council observation ships, the aliens watched silently as human crews efficiently captured the Empire vessels. They had come expecting to witness a massacre of a peaceful species. Instead, they had seen the awakening of a sleeping giant, one that had never been peaceful because of fear, but because it knew the true cost of war. And in the darkness of space, more hidden human ships were preparing to power up their systems, ready to show the galaxy why Earth's apparent weakness had always been its greatest strength. Commander Mark walked into the Council chamber carrying what looked like a simple datapad. The room was packed. Every species had sent representatives after watching the battle at New Eden. Gone were their condescending smiles. Now they watched him with wide eyes and nervous movements. You asked to understand, he said, his voice carrying through the silent chamber. You wanted to know why we hid our strength. Today, I'll show you. He activated the datapad, and the chamber's holographic system came to life. The aliens gasped as Earth's history unfolded around them in vivid detail. Humanity fought its first war before we invented writing, Mark explained as images showed ancient battles. By the time we reached space, we had perfected warfare in ways you never imagined. The display shifted to show World War I. Massive fleets of ships and planes filled the sky. Tanks rolled across continents. Entire industries transformed overnight to support the war effort. You thought we feared war because we avoided it, Mark continued. But look closer. We didn't just fight wars. We industrialized them. He showed them factory lines producing thousands of aircraft per month, shipyards launching new vessels daily, armies millions strong, moving with precision across vast distances. While other species fought small battles over territory, humanity learned to fight total wars. We didn't just build weapons, we turned our entire civilization into a weapon when needed. The holograms changed again, showing modern military simulations. The council members shifted uncomfortably as they realized these weren't simple exercises. They were detailed plans for defending against every possible threat. Every human colony you saw wasn't just a settlement, Mark explained. It was a fortress designed by people who had spent thousands of years learning how to hide their strength until it was needed. He brought up images of the farming equipment that had transformed into weapons, the research stations that became command centers, the civilian ships that carried hidden military gear. You thought our diplomatic approach meant we were afraid, he said, walking through the hologram of a battlefield. But we chose peace precisely because we mastered war. We knew its cost better than anyone. High Counselor Rel stood up, their 4 eyes fixed on Mark. But your history, the destruction, how could you not fear such things? Mark's expression softened. We don't fear war, Counselor. We respect it. There's a difference. Fear makes you run from something. Respect makes you understand it. The chamber fell silent as he showed them more. Hidden defense networks spanning entire sectors of space. Civilian ships that could transform into warships within hours. Training programs that kept humanity's military skills sharp while appearing to be simple emergency response drills. Every time you looked at a human colony and saw weakness, you were actually seeing the ultimate strength, the ability to hide in plain sight. We didn't build obvious defenses because obvious defenses can be studied and defeated. The final hologram showed the battle at New Eden from multiple angles. The council members watched again as the seemingly defenseless colony transformed into an impregnable fortress. This is why we joined your council, Mark concluded. Not because we needed protection, but because we wanted to prevent war. Because unlike any other species, we know exactly what war can do. We've spent thousands of years perfecting it, and thousands more learning how to avoid it. As the holograms faded, Mark looked at each council member in turn. You thought you were protecting us. But now you know the truth. We were protecting you. From the knowledge of what real war looks like, from the understanding of what happens when humans are forced to fight at their full capacity. The council chamber remained silent long after he finished. The aliens finally understood. They hadn't been watching over a weak species. They had been sitting next to the galaxy's most dangerous predator, one that had chosen to sheathe its claws not out of fear, but out of wisdom. General Anna stood before the massive screen in Earth's Central Command, watching red dots multiply across the star map. The Crimson Empire, furious after their defeat at New Eden, had launched attacks across human space. They thought they would find easy targets. Instead, they were springing a trap centuries in the making. Status report, she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos displayed before her. Empire forces have hit 12 more colonies, General, her aide reported. They're using everything they have. But he smiled slightly. Every single colony was ready. On the screen, blue dots began appearing around the red ones. Not just a few ships, but entire fleets emerging from their hidden docks. Every human world, every outpost, every mining station, All of them now revealed their true nature. "Send the signal," Anna commanded. Authorization code. Rising shield. Across human space, supposed scientific outposts transformed. What the Empire thought were simple research stations turned into military bases that had been waiting years for this moment. Civilian ships shed their peaceful covers, revealing weapons and armor hidden beneath false hulls. In the Council Observation Center, alien representatives watched in amazement as the largest military force they had ever seen seemed to appear from nowhere. "Impossible," one of them whispered. "Where were they hiding all of this?" Anna's voice came through their speakers, calm and clear. "We weren't hiding, honored representatives. We were building. Every trade route we established was a supply line. Every cultural exchange center was a command post. Every scientific mission was military reconnaissance." On their screens, they watched as human forces moved with incredible coordination. Ships that had pretended to be simple merchants joined together into battle groups. Mining facilities revealed themselves as weapon factories. Even the space between stars had been prepared, filled with hidden sensors and defensive platforms. "The Empire thought they could break us by attacking everywhere at once," Anna continued. "They didn't understand that this was exactly what we planned for. Humanity doesn't just prepare for battles. We prepare for wars." The Crimson Empire forces found themselves caught in carefully planned killing zones. Their supposed surprise attacks ran straight into defenses that had been ready for years. Their mighty fleets discovered that every human world was a fortress, every civilian ship a potential warrior. In the council chamber, High Counselor Rel watched the tactical displays with new understanding. "All this time," they said quietly, "we thought we were watching over a peaceful species. But we were actually watching the galaxy's most patient predator." A message flashed across the screens. Another Empire fleet had been detected, larger than the others, heading for Earth itself. "Let them come," Anna said, her voice carrying to every human ship and station. "Show them why humanity never needed to build obvious defenses. Show them why we chose to hide our strength. Not because we feared war, but because we knew exactly how to wage it." The human response was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships moved in perfect formation, using tactics refined through centuries of warfare. Ground forces deployed with precision that spoke of countless hours of hidden training. Every piece of technology, every strategy, every movement showed the truth. Humans hadn't been avoiding war. They had been perfecting it. As the Empire fleet approached Earth, they expected to find a vulnerable homeworld. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by the full might of a species that had spent its entire history learning the art of war, and the past century hiding that knowledge behind a mask of peace. "All units, execute Battle Plan Omega," Anna commanded. "Let's show the galaxy why humans never needed to bare our teeth to be dangerous. We were never prey pretending to be harmless. We were predators choosing to be gentle, until someone forced us not to be." The stars themselves seemed to dim as humanity's true military power finally revealed itself, and the galaxy learned why Earth's children had hidden their strength for so long. Not out of fear, but because they knew that the most dangerous weapon is the one your enemy never sees coming. Colonel Peter watched from the bridge of the Silent Thunder as humanity's combined fleet gathered in the space around Jupiter. Ships of every size emerged from their hidden bases in the gas giants' moons, their true forms no longer concealed behind civilian disguises. The time for hiding was over. "All battle groups report ready," his tactical officer announced. "The Empire's main force is still regrouping after their failed attack on Earth." Peter nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical display, showing thousands of human ships forming into perfect attack formations. The Empire had thrown everything they had at Earth, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they'd broken themselves against humanity's true defenses and retreated in chaos. "Open channel to all ships," he ordered. "It's time to show them how humans really fight." The fleet moved as one, jumping into hyperspace with a precision that made the watching council representatives gasp. Humanity hadn't just been practicing peace all these years. They'd been practicing war on a scale the galaxy had never imagined. The first target was the Empire's main shipyard. Their defenders saw the human fleet arrive and prepared for a standard space battle. What they got instead was warfare on 5 different levels at once. Launch cyber attack teams, Peter commanded. As his ships opened fire, specialized computer warfare units that had hidden as maintenance crews struck at the Empire's networks. Their defense systems started shutting down, their communications fell silent, and their targeting computers began showing phantom targets. Ground teams, you have permission to reveal, came the next order. Across the Empire's shipyard planet, what they thought were civilian workers turned out to be highly trained human special forces. Critical systems began exploding. Defense platforms turned against their own ships. Chaos spread through their ranks as they realized the enemy had been in place for months, waiting for this moment. In the Council observation ships, the aliens watched in awe as humans demonstrated warfare unlike anything they'd seen before. This wasn't just about ships and weapons. It was about planning, coordination, and strategies developed over thousands of years of conflict. Second wave, begin your attack, Peter ordered. From the other side of the system, more human ships appeared. They had jumped in hours earlier and hidden themselves using technology that looked like simple sensor buoys. The Empire forces found themselves caught in a perfect trap, unable to retreat or effectively fight back. This is how humanity wages war, Peter explained to the watching Council representatives. We don't just fight with ships and soldiers. We fight with everything we have, on every level we can reach. Every civilian project you saw us build had a military purpose hidden inside it. Every trade route we established was designed to become a supply line. Every diplomatic mission mapped out targeting data. The battle wasn't even fair. The Empire forces, used to straightforward combat, had no defense against human strategies refined through centuries of warfare. Their mighty fleet, which had terrorized the galaxy, broke apart under attacks coming from every direction at once. Begin final phase, Peter commanded. Across Empire space, hidden human units activated. Their communication networks collapsed as sabotage teams revealed themselves. Their supply lines disappeared as human ships emerged from hyperspace at key points. Every weakness humans had quietly mapped out over years of peaceful observation became a point of attack. In less than a day, the Empire's main shipyard, their pride and strength, fell to human forces. But it wasn't just a military victory. It was a message to the galaxy. This is what happens when you force humans to stop pretending to be harmless. As debris from the Empire ships drifted through space, Peter sent a message to Earth Command. Phase 1 of counter-strike complete. Moving to secondary targets. The Empire is about to learn why humans spent so much time studying war. Not because we feared it, but because we intended to end it decisively if ever forced to fight. The Council representatives could only watch in silence as humanity's war machine, hidden for so long behind a mask of peace, moved with unstoppable force through Empire space. They finally understood. Humans hadn't been practicing peace because they couldn't fight. They had been practicing peace because they were too good at war to use it carelessly. Ambassador James stood once again in the center of the Galactic Council chamber, but everything was different now. The condescending smiles were gone. The looks of pity had vanished. Now the alien representatives watched him with a mixture of respect and unease. The last Crimson Empire stronghold had fallen 3 days ago. It hadn't been taken by brute force. Humans had simply switched off all the systems they had secretly built into the Empire's infrastructure over years of peaceful trade. In the end, the mighty Empire hadn't been defeated by weapons, but by patience and planning. The war is over, James announced to the silent chamber. The Crimson Empire has surrendered unconditionally. High Counselor Rel rose from their seat, their 4 eyes focused intently on the human below. We have many questions, Ambassador. I'm sure you do, James replied with that same calm smile he'd worn for years. But first, let me show you something. He activated a holoprojector, and the chamber filled with images of human ships, not in battle formation, but returning to their hidden docks. Weapons systems powered down. Military installations once again masked themselves as scientific outposts. "Watch carefully," James said. "This is the most important lesson humanity can teach you." The council members leaned forward, expecting to see some new weapon or tactic. Instead, they saw humans storing away their military might, piece by piece. Warships disappeared back into their hidden bases. Soldiers returned to their cover roles as farmers, scientists, and traders. "I don't understand," one of the younger council members spoke up. "You proved your power. Why hide it again?" James walked through the hologram of a battleship transforming back into a peaceful research vessel. Because the strongest warrior isn't the one who shows their weapons. It's the one who knows when to put them away. He gestured, and the images changed to show human colonies rebuilding, but not just their own. Human ships delivered supplies to worlds the Empire had attacked. Human medical teams treated injured aliens without asking which side they had fought for. "You thought we feared war because we avoided it," James explained. "The truth is, we understand war better than any species in the galaxy. We know its cost, its consequences. That's why we choose peace whenever we can." The chamber was silent as he continued. "Every human colony is still a fortress. Every research station still hides weapons. Every trade route can still become a military supply line. But we don't want to use any of it." But after showing such power, Rel asked, "How can you expect anyone to believe in your peaceful intentions?" James smiled. "Because we're doing something no other species has done. We're choosing to be peaceful not from weakness, but from strength. We're not hiding our weapons because we're afraid to use them. We're hiding them because we don't want to use them." He walked to the center of the chamber, his voice carrying to every corner. "The Crimson Empire thought they could force us into war. They succeeded. But now we're choosing peace again, not because we have to, but because we want to. That's the real strength of humanity." The images around them showed the final pieces of human military might disappearing back behind their peaceful masks. But this time, everyone knew what lay beneath. And somehow, that made the peace more meaningful, not less. "So," James concluded, "we'd like to propose some changes to the council. Not because we demand them, but because we've learned something important. True peace isn't the absence of strength. It's the wise use of it." As the council members nodded in understanding, James thought about all the years they'd spent watching humans, thinking they were observing a species that feared war. Now they finally understood. They had been watching a species that respected war enough to master it, and wisdom enough to avoid it. "The galaxy is changing," he said finally, "and humanity will help guide that change. Not through force, but through example, because the greatest victory isn't winning a war, it's preventing the next one." The council chamber erupted in discussion, but James just stood quietly, that same calm smile on his face. Humanity had shown the galaxy its strength. Now they would show something even more impressive. The strength to choose peace when war would be easier.